Good day. Today we will discuss the parts of the analog camera and digital camera. Front part of the analog camera. First, we will discuss the lens. Lens is a specialized piece of glass that reflects light from the outside onto the rear of the camera, producing an image that is upside down and reverse on the film there. Okay. Next, the focusing ring. Focusing ring that we can see here. This device shifts the lens back and forth so the photographer may capture a clear image of the subject. Next is the aperture. The aperture is a tiny opening. Okay? Si aperture na sa loob siya. Opening typically circular in shape in a camera that controls how much light enters the lens, and it typically takes the form of an iris diaphragm. And ito yung aperture ring. And the shutter speed dial will regulate how long. Ito yung the shutter speed dial. Will regulate how long light is permitted to reach the sensitized substance. And the shutter controls, sa loob din yung shutter. It colors the amount of light that reaches the film by adjusting the amount of time light is permitted to pass through the lens. Siyempre, meron tayong shutter release button. A shutter release button is a component of a camera that, when pressed, maintains the shutter in the open position. Okay, when taking pictures indoors, the flash bulb is put into the accessory light shoe or the hot shoe. Yun. ISO, ASA, and DIN dial is a camera feature that, when adjusted, conforms to the film's sensitivity to light. And syempre, of course, we have the exposure counter, the frame counter. It's an instrument that counts the number of exposures taken. Syempre, meron din tayong distance scale. Distance scale, okay, ito yun yung nasa pagitan ng lens and the aperture ring. The distance scale is a tool that display the approximate distance between the lens optical center and the object's point of focus. Next is the film rewind lock. The film rewind lock, a device that protects the film from unintentional rewinding. Okay. Next is the back over release knob. And a knob, a tool used to unlock the back cover so that the film can be reloaded. And lens lock release lever. Okay, the lens lock release lever. Ito yun. A tool for securing the lens. And film advance lever. Okay, ito yun. Yung makikita natin doon sa likod. That's the film advance lever. It's a device that slowly transfers film from one spool to another frame at a time. That's the front part of the analog camera. It's the back parts of the analog camera. First, we have the viewfinder, where the camera-mounted viewing tool is called a viewfinder or a window. Okay, or is used to get the right composition para makita natin mabuti yung pinipicture natin. Siyempre, we have the film holder. The film holder, it keeps the film in the camera in place, always on the opposite side of the lens. Next is the data display. Hindi siya masyadong, ito talaga yung sa nakikita yung picture. It's a liquid crystal display, frequently enables to use the view parameters including film speed, exposure, and shutter speed. Next is the sprocket tip. This is the film sprocket. This is where the sprocket tip will interact with the film transfer mechanism. And meron tayong take-up spool. Ito yan, sa 29 ito, meron tayong mga take-up spool dyan. This is a metal or plastic cylinder that is typically seen while seeing the camera from behind on the right side. On the cylinder, there will be either be a notch, gears, or both. An exposed film can be placed behind the shutter by pulling the film along. The spool advances the film as I crank it, since the film is attached to either notch or the gears. Next is the rewind fork. This is the rewind fork. It's attached to the film rewind crank and knob, and the film cartridge chamber contains the lengthy spool core that is held there. So yun yung contains ng spool. And next is the film cartridge chamber of the film hold. Ito yan. The film cartridge chamber of the film is essential for securely loading the film. It is the canal region behind the camera on the left side. Siyempre, we have the film guide rails. Ito yun, yung dalawang yun. And these are the tiny protrusion of fragmented metal that are located at the top and the bottom of the focal plane shutter window, because the film edges rest on them. Their size is accurate to the width of the film. And syempre, another tripod socket where we can put the tripod or we can insert tripod. And the battery relay chamber. Yan. That's the parts of back of the analog camera. Here's the part of the front of digital camera. First, we have the built-in flash na tumutulong para sa pagkaroon ng light when we're taking a picture. And syempre, the button, the flash or the flash mode. Yun yung if we need to have a steady flash or light. And the infrared receiver and the bracketing button. Next is the lens release button. Okay, ito yung naglalak doon sa lens natin kung pag magkakabit tayo ng lens. And of course the connector cover. Next is the accessory thermal over and external. Focus mode selector, ito yun. And AF mode button is sa gilid siya, pero ito yun, titingnan natin siya banda rito. And of course, we have the HDMI connector. Okay, we have the HDMI connector, the AV connector, the USB connector na may insert tayo. Yan. Next is the external microphone connector, kung saan pwede natin gumamit tayo ng mga microphone. Ito yung isang built-in microphone. So nakaka-receive siya ng mga audio, naglalabas din ng audio. Yan. That's the built-in microphone. And syempre, we have the mirror. Ito yun. And the exposure meter. Meron din tayong exposure meter na kung saan binibilang kung ilang take na ba tayo or nakakailang take na ba tayo. Next is we have the HDMI connector. Next is the back of the digital camera, the eyepiece cap kung saan or the yung parang shield ni viewfinder. Yan. As a viewfinder, syempre alam naman natin, it is a where we saan tayo tumitingin para mas maganda ang composition ng ating camera. Okay, that's the viewfinder. And the diopter adjustment. Okay, si diopter adjustment, ito yung nag-a-adjust sa light, depends on your eyesight. Okay. Button AEL or the auto exposure lock and the autofocus lock. Si auto exposure lock, ito yung nagla-lock sa exposure natin para hindi tayo makakuha ng masyadong light and masyadong madilim. And si autofocus para hindi na siya masyadong gumalaw at hindi na makadetect pa ng mga ibang objects. At yun nga, that's the autofocus lock. And next is the speaker where the audio will na lumalabas, ganun. And syempre we have the main control dial na nag-a-adjust sa control natin. Next, we have the setting display na kung saan makikita natin yung mga menu. Yan. Depende kasi sa camera yan. Merong minsan kasi kapag sa digital camera, nasa setting display na yun. Pero minsan meron sa gilid. Yan. Next is the OK button. Saan tayo nagko-confirm. And syempre, we have the video recording button. The delete button na kung saan magde-delete tayo ng mga unnecessary photos na hindi naman natin kailangan. And syempre, we have the play button. Minsan kapag sa digital camera, meron na siya talaga sa setting sa mismong LCD niya. Andun na yung mga play button. Pero dahil dito sa picture, sa labas sila. Okay, next is the focus selector lock. Yun, the focus selector lock. And the memory card access indicator, syempre. Makikita natin dito kung may memory card pa tayo. Kung may memory card ba yung camera. Next is the zoom. Okay, minsan merong zoom dito pero madalas meron din yan sa lens. Yung kapag meron kang lens or the distance scale, pwede natin adjust doon. And yun lang. These are the parts of the back of the digital camera. And we discussed the front of the digital camera, we discussed the back of the analog camera, and we discussed the front of the analog camera.